Assalamu alaikum. Hope everyone's fine. Couple of days to Ramadan. Hope you're all preparing. Um, so basically, what we are talking about today is the recent campaign that we have launched over the last week or so. A few Imams went to Israel to meet many people, but unfortunately, one of them were essentially a Zionist who is active in lobbying for the interests of Israel around the world. And so and just to sort of clarify the story first before we actually get into the nitty gritty as to why this is a problem. So the Imams that went there was Imam Asim Hafiz. He is the Muslim chaplain for the British Muslim Forces. Sheikh Ghulam Rabbani, he is the founder for Fizan Islam, which is educational, as far as I know, it's an educational institute for British Muslims, based up north in England as well as in London. Sheikh Muhammad Asra, who is the senior lecturer at Al Jamia Sufia Al Islam in Bradford, as well as the Imam at the biggest masjid in Leeds, Bilal Masjid. As well as Imam Sharif Hussein Al-Azri, who is the chief executive for Karima Institute, and also, interestingly as well, the former vice chair for the Association of Muslim Schools. So these are the Imams, that at least the high-profile Imams that was essentially featured in the piece that basically broke the story, Jewish News. They went to Israel. They met a number of people who were essentially from different parts of Israel. So they didn't just meet essentially Zionists, but they did meet various different people. But they did meet a particular person called Rabbi David Rosen, who is the international director of interreligious affairs for a pro-Israeli lobby group called AJC, American Jewish Congress. And so and interestingly, in the same article, it was said that Roshan has invited the Imams for a second visit in September 2019 in Israel. Okay, so you have someone who is a part of a global advocacy organization for the state of Israel, inviting again these Imams from the UK to come and talk. Okay, and that is fundamentally a problem. Now, to sort of clarify, just to really sort of give credence to what I mean, that AJC is a pro-Israeli lobby group. So first of all, on their website, and you can Google their website, it's public, but they actually boast a quote by Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, who has run an election saying that I am going to essentially colonize the whole of the West Bank. Yeah, they have a quote of him praising AJC as being a truly, and I say in quotes, AJC is a truly global player and a powerful advocate for Jewish people in the Jewish state. So this is a genocidal maniac who is praising this organization for how effective they are. In addition, on their website, they boast about training young people to essentially create alliances and to defend Israel on colleges and on universities and campuses. And they actively tackle BDS, a movement across the world. This again is completely transparent on their website. So that's a fundamental problem, because you would as Muslims, yeah, you wouldn't meet people who are supporting any form of genocide. You wouldn't meet people that are supporters of a Bosnian genocide. You wouldn't meet people that are supporters of the Chinese genocide on Uyghur Muslims. Nor would you support people that are harming Rohingya Muslims. So why is it a special case to meet people who are supporting the Palestinian genocide? That it's just a moral inconsistencies, and you wouldn't do it. So why did that happen? Now, if they were fooled into it, they just need to come out and say it, because we all make mistakes. We're all human, yeah. And I've made mistakes, and I've publicly said, look, this isn't right. I shouldn't have done it, and that's cool. So no blame will be put upon them if that is the case. But if they knew who they were meeting, then that is a serious problem. Okay, and this is where accountability comes in, because right now nobody knows whether it's one or the other. It could be like, well, we didn't know, or it could be like, I knew and I still went. Yeah, and that's the whole point of accountability. Because at the end of the day, yeah, if people are meeting those that are active in the persecution of other Muslims, never mind other Muslims, other people, other humans, they are essentially normalizing the fact that you can meet with peacefully with people that are essentially violently, politically oppressing other Muslims and other human beings. That's just not right at all, and we should not condone it in any way. Okay, so the point of our action alert is to clarify from those Imams, did you go knowing that you were going to meet Zionists in Israel? Okay, and if you didn't know, cool, make that clear. But also, that invitation in September 2019, are you going to go back to Israel and meet them? Yeah, or are you not going? Are you going to publicly commit that you're not going to go back and meet those Israeli lobbyists in Israel? Yeah, that needs to be made clear. Okay, and this is a fundamental red line for the vast majority of Muslims across the UK and the vast majority of Muslims across the world. In fact, yeah. So this isn't by any means a small issue. We cannot have in any regard the normalization of the oppression of the Palestinians. That is a complete red line across the board. Okay, so what's happened recently is that one of the Imams that we've asked people to lobby through the pressure of our action alert, he's actually responded publicly. Okay, so I'm going to say what he said in bullet points, and I'm also going to basically break down why is that an issue. Okay, why is that a thing that he said is an issue. The first thing is that and remember, he's the head of a Muslim organization called the Karima Institute, yeah, which is again another educational Muslim institution that's based, I believe, in Nottingham, but is quite popular in around Yorkshire anyway. So first of all, he says in his response that this is a response to the negativity of a few people. Now, first of all, it's not just a few people. There are lots of people who are angry about this. And I'm not just talking about myself. There are literally councils of mosques that are lobbying the other Imams, yeah, who are basically said, no, you cannot do this. Why did you do this? That should not ever happen again. Okay, so this is a big deal. Okay. Secondly, is that by saying it's just negativity, you are downplaying the severity of the issue, which I've just illustrated before. Okay, so that's the problem of the opening statement. Secondly, he completely dodges the fact that he met this Israeli lobbyist, the rabbi that I mentioned before. Okay, and whether he will go back in September, he's not replied to. Yeah, so he's glossed over the real points of accountability. Thirdly, he says that in the end we all want justice for Palestinians, especially the youth. Well, if that's the case, should you be meeting with people that are actively trying to destroy their future? Honestly, that's a serious point. And why do you have it as part of a response? Because it's morally inconsistent. And fourthly, the fact that he brought in the issue of, it's not really an issue, but the fact that he stated that anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim hatred is a problem in the UK and that we need to join forces with Jews as well. Yeah, fine, but why bring it up? Because this is about you meeting a person that's against that is oppressing the Palestinian people. Why is that even a thing? This is not about Muslims and Jews. This is about the oppression of the Palestinian people. So why did you bring that up in the first place? Okay, so, and he states that, we have an obligation to spread peace and love and whatnot, and that is true. But then it doesn't make sense to try and spread peace with people who have no peace with your own brothers and sisters. That doesn't make sense. And if you're saying you're not a politician, then don't meet with these people that are politically invested in the oppression of our brothers and sisters. As simple as that. Yeah? So this needs to be shed light upon. There needs to be accountability, and he needs to give a proper response. That wasn't a proper response. He just glossed over it, thinking that he could get away with it, and his own followers will not question it. Yeah? And that's simply unacceptable at all. Okay? And I know from many people, and I actually saw it with my own eyes, on his own personal Facebook page, he was deleting comments that was expressing a lot of disappointment to his public statement. At one point, there was a particular sister who collated all those who screenshotted all those comments and actually posted them up, be like, why are you deleting these comments, and can you please start deleting them and just answer the questions, because this is not a small issue. And guess what, he deleted those again, and that is a complete contempt. That shows complete contempt of being held accountable, and contempt for the people who have a right to hold you to account. These are imams. Imams, by definition, are leaders, and therefore are accountable to the people that essentially that have influence. Are accountable by the Muslim communities. So the fact that he's running away from accountability is in itself damaging, and it's actually going to cause more damage to his reputation and to his and to essentially cause more anger amongst us. This is poor response. He needs to do better. So it's also a point to note that really, if this is the quality of our imams, our religious leaders, then should we really be investing into these imams? Are they really worth the stock? Do they have the leadership skills to lead our communities in the way that we need to be led? That's a serious question as well. And I would say obviously not, because if they don't have a moral backbone, what's the point? Yeah, Islam is a religion, is a force for good. Islam is a force for good. And if you're meeting people that are and shaking hands and breaking bread with people that are essentially causing mischief and oppression in this world, then you're not actually living the principles of Islam. Okay? So what's also clear is that our action alert is actually causing a lot of pressure. And if you have already lobbied Musharraf Hussain, please continue to do so and give your response. Just because he's maybe running away from, it seems like he's running away from accountability, just because that's the case, that shouldn't be a means that you should stop. You should press harder. And if you haven't actioned our alert, the link is just above. Please do so as soon as possible. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for your time.